Hi, welcome to Book Moon!
Hi, I'm glad you chose to spend some time with me. In this video, I'm going to flip through the complete 3 journals of my bullet journal for 2025 so that we can see how all pages look together, but also how that it evolved. I used 3 journals like I do every year, and I fit around 4 months in each one. So let's start with this one, which is the first one, and I am not sure anymore about the brand, so I will look that up and I will put it in the on the screen somewhere. This did hold up quite well. The spine got moving and the bookmark ribbons came loose, but that's not a big deal. The reason I went for another brand is that I didn't find any more on Amazon, which is where I buy my journals, in the same price range as this one was. And this one so goes from January all the way to March, and as you can see, I do not have a very big starting setup, because I do that one always in September, since my year mostly goes from September through September. Every journal I make starts with this in case of emergency spreads. It is always set up in French because that's the main language of the region of Belgium I live in. And it holds information about autism, about meltdowns and shutdowns, and how people can help me in case that this happens. For example, if I get caught in an accident or something like that. It also holds other diagnoses and the medications I take, as well as contacts information. Next up is always a future log for the 4 next months. So I do not include January because I know I will set it up, and this makes it I have space for things that are in the month after this journal. And it's always in the same style with a calendar that holds. So I have shared custody of Tilea and Theorem, and so it holds the dates that they are at their death, it holds birthdays, fixed appointments, and then events or other things I want to keep track of for that month. In this one I made a someday maybe list because I wanted something next to this week planner that we are going to come to, and I put 2 things on it, things that still are not done, and I never looked at it again. So this is something that you will not see come back to my journals. The week planner is something I use to plan out when I need to prepare or start planning something, because, well, we have a quite busy life, and for example, if I need to plan 5 birthday parties for my kids each year, I need to start at some point to think about what we are going to do and making invitations. And if I do not write it down somewhere, I will forget and I will be like, oops, we're too late with that. And that's what this is for. The first month was based on a French book called Le Manoir de Castlecatz, l'automne des aspirants. This is a series that will be made out of 4 books, one for each season, and we're following cats that are going to some kind of magical school. It's a little bit Harry Potter like. It is young adult, middle grade, but upper middle grade. And I enjoyed this series quite a lot. I read it with Jorim, and in this book the stained glass windows take a big part, or in the series, and so I try to make one for my cover page. And it is not my favorite setup. I did set up my reading journal, I did set up the general spreads in this one. We will come across some more of those in the back. And it didn't turn out as I wanted. And we will see that even further. So yeah, and you never saw these in my setups. In this one I still have the Biblio drive in my bullet journal. That will change, I think, for April. And if the general setup is still quite nice, the first week no inspiration at all. And then, yeah, it stays a little bit meh anyways. I think this is one of those I like the most. I had a spare page, so I took some notes. And then we are into February. That was inspired by Beauty and the Beast from the collection I showed off in my latest vlog. And also Bryony and Roses by T Kingfisher, which is a retelling that I really much enjoyed listening to. And I gave it this, I got inspired by the roses that take a big part in the story. And I thought that was something very cute for February. And I really enjoyed this setup actually. So my setups are always the same ones because or the same layouts, because I know that they work for me and I get the information that I need out of those. And you might see I have like my fixed stuff, and then I have also like a to-do list, and I use this mostly to keep track of things that I must do later on. So I indicate that they will be done at another point, or things that are not very urgent. And then under here I keep track of the animal care, and then of the thing that I planned out in my ideal week track, or my ideal week spread. This is March, and March was inspired by The Kingdom of Bach by Mary Lou. This is about, it's a retelling of Mozart and of Nannerl with a magical realism touch. I really liked this book. And so in here we have more a background that is inspired by the time period this takes place in, and we have music notes and music instruments and carriages, because that's how they traveled. And I think this one turned out quite nice as well. So I've been looking a little bit around how to make a title look good. That's what I love about bullet journaling. I can switch things up when I need to and have an agenda that really works for me. These pages are for preparing our Easter weekend and celebrations, but also we went to see street arts festival in We made a vlog about that one. So I planned out which shows we were going to see, where they were, and I put also the streets on a little map so that I knew where to go. In April, I really wanted to do something around Robin Hobb, and I ended up using a dragon and the forest theme for it, because I really loved the washi tapes that included also like this one with the bigger dragons. So I will not say too much about that to not spoil those who still are reading or want to read The Realm of the Elderlings. But then there are books where the word dragon is in the title, so I think that we all know that they are coming. And how much I loved the monthly setup, I didn't really enjoy the weeklies. I think they're a little bit sad. And I have some spare pages, but then I always also go to the back. So with my We Are Open spread. And I did made on the other side this phone number spread for places I need often to contact, but I ended up not including that anymore because they are in my phone anyways. And then here we have the future log for the rest of the year because I need less space for it and I do not need to access it often, so I put it in the back. I tend to use or not use the next budget spread for what I want to include next time or to the side of the team, and I did not do that this time. So this is the first one. The second journal of the year, the one from May to August, is this one by Tiefossi, and it was my first Tiefossi one because I really loved the cover, and it's also the one that made out of Tiefossi my favorite brand. It stuck well, the spine didn't break at all, the ribbon stayed in place, and even if it's going everywhere with me, the cover and the tissue of the cover did not get damaged. It's a little bit stained, but even to that it held up very well. So we will have the same setups with the in case of emergency, the future log, and then I tried to have a bigger week planner and I ended up not using it and the whole summer went into chaos. And then we have the month of May that was inspired by, and I have forgotten how it's called in English. I will put a cover somewhere. And so this is about a young man that goes to different places in Japan to get his cat adopted. We know from the cat that something is wrong. We are all seeing it through the eyes of the cat, and the cat doesn't want to get adopted, wants to stay with his owner. And so in this setup we will have, and I know this is not Japanese, this is Chinese. We have roads, we have cats, and these are Japanese views. And it's a setup that I did enjoy a lot. And as you can see, well, it's always the same pages that are coming back. So in case you wonder, I always write out my menu and the steps that I do with my phone, because at home my phone lays down at his spot most of the day, and then I track my medication. And then we have a spread that I used to plan Nicholas, his birthday party. I was in a very bad health place in 2025. We didn't expect that, and we also only understood it by the end of the year. And I will not talk about my health issues or things like that. This channel is not for that. But that will also be at the base why sometimes for some weeks there is no spread at all, why some things do not went as planned or did not get used, but that's perfectly fine. In June, I went with this space team, and it was based on a French duology, which is called Les Nébuleuses, and it is by Amandine Peter. This is a French author living in the US, and this is a space opera duology that I really, really loved. And this year I read the prequel for it, which I also really, really loved. And it is a space opera, so it does has important stakes, but it also feels very, so the world feels very fluffy at sometimes, and I got inspired by the pink clouds that are on the cover, and I used those more pastel colors to make this setup. It is one that I also liked a lot. You can see that here things did not get used. And here I I left some pages blank to plan out another birthday party. We have a lot of birthdays in the summer, so this is 2 people, and I did not plan them out. And then I had to set up July because I could not allow myself not to do it, but it was not a good period, and I got inspired by Emily Wilde and these fairy stickers that my husband got me. But I must admit, it is one of the setups that I like the least. And it also didn't got used a lot. You can see that I left pages for some weeks that I never set up. And then we are into August. And in August I wanted to do this steampunk theme based on a manga series, and it is called Beyond the Clouds. It has this very sweet story. It is only 5 books about a girl that falls down and is found by a boy, and together they go try to find out what or who she is, because she seems to have some magical powers that she cannot control. So before being able to understand the magic, well, maybe she should know what it is exactly. And we are following this trip and together discovering exactly where she came from. And I wanted to do this. It was one of the first themes I decided on that I will do at the start of the year, and it took me a long time to find stuff to make it. Finding steampunk stationery was not that easy, and I also took these whales, which are quite realistic, because in the book we have flying whales. This is an image from the book. It's the main character, the boy main character. And in August I wasn't very active on YouTube and I didn't plan anything else. But then I really liked how it turned out. But then also I didn't use it as much. This is a list of school stuff that we needed to buy. And then we have blank pages for other lists that in the end I didn't make on paper. And then in the back we have my We Are Open, the future log, the next butcher which got used. And I added in a when did I last, and I separated into house stuff and animal stuff. But I didn't use it that much. Now there was also not that much to write down, so if you follow along you will have noticed that I will have combined this into one calendar for both stuff. Then I have some pages with notes with things I tested out, because why not use the blank pages? There are never enough pages left for squeezing in more than 4 months in a book, but also 4 months makes it easy. 3 books, and I've got a new one in January and I've got a new one in September, which comes in very handy for me. This is the last one that I used for 2025. It's again Tiefossi, and I must say this is very smooth, and it is with relief, and this has gone everywhere with me, and it stayed up together really well. I expected like maybe the foil getting a little bit damaged or something, but nope, stays nice. And confirmed that Tiefossi will be my brand for the future. So I had some stuff left, so I decorated this, and I couldn't do the whole page. And I thought, well, it's okay, but in the end I have all the time felt it was a little bit weird. I had this index page offering it, or this single one page, and I decided to try out making an index. Never went back to it, so I didn't do that again. And then I have my in case of emergency spread, my future log, and this is my bigger setup since it started in September. And I do this biggest setup because this is when the kids go to school. Our weekly and monthly planning has to change, linked to their school hours, and so this is why I make this bigger setup. And in this spread I keep just track of all the information about school that changes, when they have gym, when they have when they go to the pool, swimming, and there the same goes with extra activities after school. And then I include always this weekly overview, and I never did the weekends. We do more vibe in the weekends. That let me plan out my day to make sure that I get everything done without having to run and rethink my day every week again. And then we have my ideal week with what I have to start doing when. And I did put in again a when did I last, and I did use it, but way more for the animals than for the house. We started HelloFresh, and we wanted to see if we could maybe ordering groceries, and we wanted to see what do we buy on regular basis and on which amounts. And I started tracking that, but you can see that at some point life got crazy. We had to run in all directions, and it became too difficult to keep track of all this, so I stopped doing that. And in the end, well, what we learned is that we will not order in groceries for like a whole week or 2 weeks at a time. This was a similar project, which is 900 care, and it is holding in soaps and deodorant and all stuff like that, and it comes in with a subscription, and I wanted to know how much we actually use in comparison to what comes in, because I feel it stacks up at home. And well, it did the purpose, but I never wrote down all of it. And for September I went with a cozy witchy theme that was based on the very secret society of extraordinary witches. And I do regret the lines that I put around, but once they were there, they couldn't be taken away easily. And it's not my favorite setup, but I still liked it. You can see that some months, like here it is very heavily used and then it really fills up quickly. Then we came to October, and in October I wanted to go with a fall but then still slightly Halloweenish theme, and I really enjoyed Mexican Gothic, and I found on the internet these dress-up dolls and this art for the characters, and I wanted to do something with that. And so this was the basis of this setup. Also, like there is this yellow flowers on the cover, so I will have included yellow flowers as well. And then, yeah, there is mushrooms, but if you are planning to read this book, you will discover why they are there, and if you read it, well, then you know. And you can see that this is also a month that I got very busy and I got very not in a good place, and I didn't fill it out completely. Every year we host a Halloween party for each of the kids, or we group, like for the teens we group together, and this is me planning for those parties. Then we have the weeklies, and this is, I think, one of my favorite setups. I really even now enjoy looking back at it. Then we have November, and in November I really wanted to do something more quiet, and I went with The Starless Seas by Erin Morgenstern, and I took in there water elements, and then the feathers, the keys that were in the book, and books of course, and then also bees. And I really enjoyed this one as well, but also for a big time I didn't really use my journal. This one is, I think, is one of the first shorts I shared, and this is a spread that I made to plan out an activity that is like Elf on the Shelves, but that is around the St. Nicholas tradition we have here. So we have this little puppet that is part of a book, and you can see that in one of our vlogs as well. Here is a little puppet, and the little puppet basically is a helper of St. Nicholas who comes in the house to see if the kids are being good and what type of gifts they would like to receive. And our little puppet brings things to do. He brought everything to make some cookies. We made a similar looking chimney because he found our house lacked one. We did a lot of games to prepare with St. Nicholas and himself to go to the roofs and bring gifts. We hosted a complete walking dinner in St. Nicholas themed evening for our kids, and of course we wrote letters, so we put it all in here. And then I wanted to make a spread in which to keep the pictures of the letters they wrote to see what gifts they want, but I never came to that, so they are blank. Then you can see that it's barely used. We went to Brussels and we vlogged that for you, and since I had open pages, I used that to plan out our day in Brussels. And we are up to December, and I wanted to do something around A Wizard's Guide of Defensive Baking by T Kingfisher, which I really enjoyed also listening to. And so I went with these gingerbread cookie characters because, well, they are on the cover and they play a big role in the story. And I struggled a little bit to find a background for them because I wanted something Christmassy without it being obviously Christmassy. And I ended up using these papers that I had laying around for a while, and I think it has something simple but also something very festive, and I enjoyed using it, but then you can see that I didn't come back to my journal often, and there is a lot of space left to plan out Christmas and stuff, and then things went completely different as we expected, and I ended up not planning extensively for stuff. We went to Paris. That's in one of our vlogs as well. You can see, didn't use it. And then we are at the end. And again, the we are open. The rest of the future log. And then this one holds, and I do this every year, and then it lives on my desk for the whole year. This holds the list of all medical people surrounding our family. It's not purely doctors, there is speech therapists and things like that as well. And then I made a notes page for notes about FODMAP and IBS, which is one of the things I struggle with. And we have my cleaning schedule, and I know it by heart, but I feel more secure when it's on paper, and also by writing it out again I can change up things if my schedule needs it. And this year I didn't have to do that, but it is an exercise that I do every year again, and so I'm sure that I don't stick in a routine where I should not be holding on to, because this is something very autistic of mine. Once there is a routine, I will stick to it, and I will do everything to stick to it, even if it's not working anymore. And so by having this way of organizing, I am forced to at every time rethink and make sure that my routine fits my needs. I did not use the next Bardot spread, and then you can see that I wanted to switch up my weekly spread, so I've been testing out what things would look like and what space it would give me on the blank pages of this one. Oh, well, it is a good point that we are at the end of this flip through, because this alarm that just went off is telling me that it's time to get my kids from school. So I hope you enjoyed flipping through my journals. I hope that it got you some inspiration maybe for one of your own setups. And please let me know which setup did you like the most, which setup did you like the least, and what type of theme would you like to see me set up one day. Maybe suggest a book that you really liked, but it might be something else as well. See you soon!